In search for ways to boost productivity, keep costs down, and find helpful assistance, industry managers and others are using smart robots more and more each year. They have been known to help people not only in the workforce, but in their personal lives as well. A smart robot is an artificial intelligence system that can learn from its environment and its experience and build on its capabilities based on that knowledge. Smart robots can collaborate with humans, working alongside them and learning from their behavior. They have the capability to interact with humans for industrial, personal, and professional applications. And with the help of this artificial intelligence, they can be programmed with different scenarios of a situation that reacts to human movements. Smart robots can work 24 hours a day and 7 days a week with no lunch breaks. They never call in sick and do not take vacations, as well as they don't qualify for pensions. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, statistics have shown to prove that the increase in productivity growth has grown when using robots in the industry. It has helped also cut down labor and employment costs tremendously, which have known to be a huge benefactor in company success. Aside from the workforce, smart robots have taken an influence in our personal lives by making simple tasks or chores much more helpful. A couple examples are the iRobot Roomba that could be programmed to vacuum the house during specific times of the day, leaving your house clean of debris. Also, the Amazon Echo has taken the spot of a personal assistant that plays music on command, as well as inform you on weather and news updates. Robots in use today are primarily machines with manipulators that can be easily programmed to do a variety of manual tasks automatically. A robot consists of three basic components: a controller, a manipulator, and effectors, and increasingly sensors to provide information about the environment and feedback of performance. We'll start with the controller. The controller functions as the brain and nervous system of the robot and consists of any programmable device from a rotary drum switch to a full computer. The controller not only directs the robot through its program moves, but in smart robot systems with artificial intelligence, it integrates the robot with machinery, equipment, and devices, monitoring processes and making decisions based on system demand, while at the same time reporting to a supervisory control. All of this are within its capability of the controller. Next, we'll focus on the manipulator. The manipulator basically consists of a base, one or more arms, plus a power drive. The manipulator is the component that provides movement, and the specific type of power drive system is determined by certain parameters depending on the customer. Next, we'll focus on the effectors. The effectors are the parts of the robot that actually do the work. Effectors can be any sort of tool that you can mount on your robot and control with the robot's computer. Most of the time, the effectors are specific to the task that you want your robot to do. They consist of motors that can be used for many of the moving parts of a robot, from joints on robotic limbs to wheels on robotic vehicles to the flaps on propellers for a robotic airplane. Also, speakers can allow certain robots to talk to us or generate other sounds. Speech is, after all, a behavior intended to modify the environment. All three components of a smart robot include controller, manipulator, and effectors. Sensors are what allow a robot to gather information about its environment. The information can be used to guide the robot's behavior. They consist of both cameras that allow a robot to construct a visual representation of its environment and microphones that can detect sound.
In this section of the presentation, we'll be covering a brief history of robotics and a timeline. The history of robotics is intertwined with the histories of technology, science, and the basic principle of progress. Technology used in computing, electricity, and hydraulics are considered a part of history of robotics. It is only in recent years that manufacturers in making robotics increasingly available and obtainable to the general public. In 1921, the term robot was used for the first time in a play called R.U.R. The writer was Karl Capek. The plot was very simple. A man creates a robot to replace him, and then the robot kills a man. In 1937 through 1939, Westinghouse created Electro, a human-like robot that could walk, talk, and smoke. Electro was first unveiled at the 1939 World Fair. In 1942, Isaac Asimov wrote the 3 laws of robotics. Law 1, a robot may not injure a human being. Law 2, a robot must obey orders given by human beings except where such orders would conflict with a higher order law. Law 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with a higher order law. In 1957, on October 4th, the Soviet Union successfully landed Sputnik 1, the world's first autonomous artificial satellite. It was 22.8 inches in diameter and weighed only 183.9 pounds. In 1973, Wabot 1, which was the first full-scale anthropomorphic robot in the world. It had a system for controlling limbs, vision, and conversation. It was estimated that it had the mental ability of an 18-month-old child. In the 1980s, they made many advances in technology. On the left is shown WL9DR, which can take a step every 10 seconds. On the right, WL12R3, which can take a step in 0.64 seconds. In 1999, Sony released the first robotic dog. Mitsubishi created a robotic fish. And personalized robots released the Psy robot, which performed various household chores such as delivering mail, carrying dishes, and vacuuming. In 2002, Honda created the Advanced Step in Innovative Mobility. It is intended to be a personal assistant. It recognizes its owner's face, voice, and name, and it can read emails and is capable of streaming video from its camera to a PC. In 2010, Kuwata Industries and the National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology invented the HRP4. It can stand on one leg, track faces and objects, and respond to voice commands. In 2016, the iCam Pro Deluxe was invented. The iCam Pro Deluxe is the world's first cordless robot that can talk, hear, detect faces, and track intruders. The iCam Pro Deluxe has a built-in face detection algorithm. Once faces are detected, it will send you face alerts immediately. It will then ask the intruder to identify himself. If he cannot, it will sound the alarm and scare the intruder off.
So as you can see, our project is on smart robots and how they're going to affect the world. Today I'm going to be talking about smart robots in the business place. Jobs that are repetitive and can be done in a stable environment are the ones that smart robots will most likely replace in the future. Business owners and customers should know that many changes are going to be taking place in the manufacturing, packaging, logistics, construction, maintenance, agricultural, food service, and the cleaning world. Most people think of these robots as improving the workplace, but I first thought about the jobs that the robots would take over. Although robots will be able to cut labor costs, they will bring many implications. These robots will take over the people who do not have a degree or specific skill. A lot of companies are looking at creating a robot to human workforce that implements both types of workers. A big implication that follows this is that how can humans trust a robot? Nowadays, it is very important to get a specialized degree and find a skill that you are good at. If you decide to work on a supply line or a job that is simple and doesn't require a high level skill, you are expected to be overcome by robots in the future. Recent technology advancements have enhanced the ability of robots and can now learn new tasks as humans do. An example of a smart robot in the business world is Baxter. Baxter was a robot that was roughly 3 to 6 feet tall and was able to learn the process of placing an item on the conveyor belt. Not only could Baxter learn just one skill, but he could also learn multiple. As of now, robots are currently used for 10% of what they could be employed for. Workers with repetitive jobs need to watch out. The revolution of robots could increase the unemployment rate. Robots have a big part of the auto industry in China. In China, this has been a quiet revolution. China is the biggest user of industrial robotics. China has been known for their low labor and production cost. In order to still have the competitive edge over other companies and countries, they are slowly implementing robotics to cut labor costs and increase productivity. In 2016, smarter robots have started being able to perform white-collar work such as data collection and some IT jobs. I think at some point these machines will take over if we continue to develop and create them to be smarter and stronger than the human race. For example, I know it's funny and kind of a joke, but the movie I, Robot, the robots ended up being smart enough to attempt to take over the world. Autonomous robots have been predicted to be used in the medical field for the future. I think that the human generations needs to slow down the advancement because we rely on jobs to make money for us. If robots take our jobs, we will soon start to lose income. The economy will fail if this happens. Although I have been talking about the negative side effects of the robotics in the business world, there are many positives. Robots are more efficient in the aspect that they don't have to sleep or eat. The price of robots and computers are also falling, which makes this an attractive field to venture into. The robots can work faster and longer than any human possibly can. If there is a task that endangers human life, a robot can perform the job without any possible fatal damage to the human. Not only will they work faster and longer, but they will also cut out the amount of defective goods. For a business owner, a smart robot would be a great investment if you want to maximize income. But this will come with an expensive startup cost, and they'll have to train their personnel on how to operate the robot. There are many positive effects that smart robots will have on the business world, but with all the ups, there comes downs. I am interested to see how society will adjust to the upcoming robotics revolution.
Before anybody should invest in smart robots, it's fortuitous to understand the relevant cost, benefits, and risk associated with them. First is we need to understand the cost associated with smart robots. In general, smart robots are going to be very, very expensive, and what these robots do is they take the hassle out of everyday tasks, but they're coming at a steep price. Smart robots like the Roomba that vacuums the house is going to be more expensive than a normal vacuum. Robots that now can clean windows. These robots are going to be more expensive than Windex and a squeegee or a company to come clean them for you, but they're going to take the task out of these everyday hassles. And you cannot prioritize or put a price on the time that you save by completing these tasks with another way. Other robots, like the robot in the top right corner, the Robokind Milo, what these robots do is they give comfort to autistic children. So it's bad to say the hassle of living with autistic children, but living with an autistic child or babysitting an autistic child can be very troublesome. What these robots do is they apply comfort to not only the child that has autism, but it applies comfort to the caretaker knowing that they're with a toy that is specifically made for autistic children. And so that can help with the everyday task of living with an autistic child. However, in business and in manufacturing and in medicine, these smart robots are actually lowering cost. As technology has advanced and robot production has scaled up, costs have fallen by 50% since 1990, which means that robots are 50% cheaper than they were 30 years ago. And U.S. labor costs have risen 80%. So what robots are going to do is they're going to do tasks that normal humans would do, but they're going to do it for much, much cheaper. And they use a one-time cost of buying it or paying a company to come and install these smart robots. And then you're not going to have to pay every day, every hour costs associated with a human being. The only costs associated with these are maintenance costs, which is one of the main reasons why human beings will never leave the workplace, because they're consistently working with and working on smart robots. Next, we must understand the benefits that come with smart robots. As stated in the slide before, smart robots are lowering job costs for manufacturing and in fields like medicine, within sorting pills and such. They're making jobs a lot cheaper because they're taking out human labor, which can be very, very expensive. They're also able to do some of the heavy lifting, so they're doing things that humans cannot. They're picking up things that are too heavy and unsafe to pick up. They're also making jobs much faster by they can put in more rivets, they can weld quicker, they can drill faster than humans can, and they also stay focused and do not follow the drama that can be associated within a workplace. One area that hasn't been explored fully but will be explored in the future is that smart robots can become much smarter than humans. As you can see in the top right, that is robot Mario, and what that robot can do is it can speak multiple languages. In the picture you can see that that is a hotel in Belgium, and that the robot can communicate with travelers that speak other languages because he can speak up to 20 different languages. This is going to be a huge need in high travel areas. One thing that robots can do is they can make the work site much, much safer. As you can see from the Harvard Business Review, robots can now detect the proximity of operators and adapt their speed, force, and range of motion to prevent collisions, making it far easier to assign tasks to robots and otherwise manual assembly lines. They have sensors just like the Roomba. They have sensors around them so they don't consistently run into the walls and such, that make for dangerous habitats in the workplace and within general life. Lastly, we must examine the risks that are associated with smart robots. Within manufacturing, smart robots can actually lower risks, as talked about in the slide before. That's why a lot of manufacturers are moving, because they have sensors and monitors that monitor their motions and can stop if they see that something's wrong. One risk, however, that comes with manufacturing specifically is the risk of a robot going out. If you're dependent on a robot, it cannot be swapped out as a human can. If a human can't show up to work, or if a human has a work problem, they can just leave and be replaced by somebody else. Robots that are stationary cannot, so the whole operation is stopped until you can get that robot fixed. Another risk is power loss. Most hospitals and most manufacturing has generators, but if one of the generators fail or if power loss occurs, then your whole operation is stopped. And cases have been reported before of smart robots going out within surgery, and there was a mass panic because the power loss of a smart robot, and so now you had to go find doctors to do the task, since they weren't there and present in the first place. One major problem with smart robots is the risk of hacking. Anybody can hack things, or not anybody, but specific people can hack things just for the fun of it and to make people angry for no other reason. So if you set all of your smart robots up, they usually run on some type of internet or Wi-Fi, and that can be the risk of hacked and then shut down your whole operation. And like I said earlier, malfunctions. Sometimes the Roombas have run over animal feces and such, and these have caused just more of a mess than they've solved. The Robokind Milos are not the best thing to put within the hands of an autistic child, because sometimes they can malfunction and that can create a cause of worry within the autistic child. So the risk of these smart robots, however, they are being lowered with more technologies, are still present with power loss, with hacking, and with everyday malfunctions that cause more problems than they solve. In conclusion, smart robots save business costs by making things like medicine and manufacturing cheaper. The everyday robot, the general robots, they're going to take away daily tasks and give you more free time. However, they're going to come at a very steep price. They're beneficial because they're smarter, faster, and stronger than humans and can do things that are physically impossible for humans. However, they come at a risk because of malfunctions when you depend on them, and hacking that can lead to losing some essential information, and they can make things very hard and make things very timely to fix.
Future trends for smart robots. Smart homes. One future trend of smart robots will be the development of smart homes. A smart home would be a house that can perform manual functions on its own, as well as be controlled via a computer or smart device. Some examples of smart home functions are lawn and garden care abilities. A smart home will be able to monitor and track weather patterns and temperatures, then use this information to water, fertilize, and shade your garden or lawn accordingly. Smart kitchens. Smart kitchens will provide many services for people who like to cook, from providing a step-by-step vocal guide to making recipes, to having the ability to self-clean the whole kitchen. This technology will completely change the traditional way of in-home cooking. In-home body analyzers. In-home body analyzers are a developing technology that uses sensors in your house to track your weight, body fat, sleep cycles, and BMI. It can then use this analysis to create meal plans, sleep schedules, and workout regimens for you throughout your day. Smart living rooms. Smart living rooms are rooms that use virtual reality technology to provide a new and exciting way of experiencing television. These rooms would have the ability of putting you in the world of whatever you are watching. Whether it is a movie or a football game, smart living rooms will make you feel like you were right there on the screen. Humanoid robots. Another future trend of smart robots will be the development of the humanoid robot. Humanoid robots are an advanced form of artificial intelligence. These robots have many functions, but one of their rapidly developing attributes are their ability to aid people in their day-to-day routines. Examples of this would be helping the elderly. These robots will be able to help elderly individuals who are unable to function on their own. This would include helping with self-care, making meals, lifting heavy objects, and even being able to socialize with them. Helping with childcare. Much like the robots that can help the elderly, there will also be robots that can provide childcare. Not only will these robots be able to watch over your children, but they can develop learning curriculums, play games, and interact with them. Robots with Internet databases. Robots with Internet databases is a new technology that has already begun to be integrated into homes. These robots will have the ability to instantly access the Internet to provide a wide array of functions for you. Some of these functions include the ability to call cabs for you just by asking it, developing scheduled grocery plans that will be delivered to your house, and even help with making appointments for yourself.